So technically what we have here, it looks like a normal brewer, it is.
Yep.
But it is more than that. So we can do any type of filter coffee, hot, from 1 liter all the way to 4 liters.
Right.
With bypass or without. And we can do the same with batch brewed hot tea.
Okay.
However, we also can do with this brewer what we call, which is our indigenous development, we call ice-brewed.
Right.
It's cold coffee. There's nothing to do with cold brew or flash brew. It's completely different. Yes, it involves certain hot blooming, but it's a fraction of it. If we have, let's say, 4 liters of yield, we're going to end up having the same throw weight as we do gram per liter for hot coffee. If we're doing 60 gram a liter, we do 60 gram a liter. If we're doing 55 gram a liter, we'll do 55 gram a liter, hot or cold.
Right.
So functionality, your cafe operator is not going to figure out how much to put when you're doing 4 liter hot or 4 liter cold.
Because you changed the flow rate or something. Is that what you did?
No.
No?
So what we do is that basically we will take that 4 liter and then divide it between cold dilution and hot. So we have a container that will hold an ice bin.
Yeah.
We fill with ice bin. The ice does not come in touch with the liquid. We hang it there. We put it here. So we're gonna have a percentage of the hot water going through the coffee bed, and a very small percentage, and then it's gonna take about as extended as 10 to 15 minutes spray time. So what you're doing is that you are spraying fraction of the water, final beverage water. Let's say out of 4 liters, you're spraying 25%. Okay? So you're taking 1 liter, let's say, spraying over the coffee bed
Yeah.
at about 10-minute time. So that coffee that is going through the coffee bed, you are not extracting the full yield you would do, let's say if you do gold cow at 60 gram a liter, 20% extraction rate yield. Here you're doing 5 times more concentrate, but is as a soluble extraction, you're doing half as much. Because you have little water going through a lot of coffee, so you're extracting all the early dissolvable solids, and you're practically neglecting to extract chlorogenic acid or caffeine. They're larger. On the meantime, the balance of water is getting from the cold side in, so now concentrate coming out, diluting to come back to normal TDS, 1.25%, getting shocked by the ice.
Right.
And that shock, cold shock we're doing, ice shock we're doing, mimics the same thing that pastry industry uses for blast freezing, where they drop from room temperature 20 degrees C to minus 20 within less than 20 minutes.
Right.
So it encapsulates the aromas, avoids a deterioration of flavor. Now here we cannot freeze obviously, but when you're dropping from 92 degrees, 93 degrees C down to 5 degrees C within less than 10 minutes, I'm doing an even stronger shock, and that encapsulates the solubles. So the test we've done over 40 days, and we stopped it, there's no particle separation happening. Now, of course, the coffee is going to be oxidated. The idea is not to create here old coffee. So just to say that you are brewing as needed, like you do a hot coffee.
Yes, of course.
You're doing it 4 liter at a time, and once it's done, you served it, you're out of it, or you're almost going to be out of it. In 15 minutes, you get another 4 liter going. So brew it fresh, serve it fresh, you can beat it. Plus, by swapping the basket from filter coffee basket to tea basket.
Oh, the difference being the stream.
restrictors.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
With a vacuum brake restrictor, what I'm doing is that I'm also doing iced tea from loose leaf tea, green and black tea at about 40 grams for 4 liter, 10 gram a liter, giving you exceptional iced tea, but natural, no additive.
Paper filter?
Paper filter.
Still, okay, all right.
And for any fruit infusions, say wild berries and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
depending their permissibility and hydrolysis, sometimes we go between 20 gram per liter to 30 gram per liter. But that depends from the product itself. All right?
Yeah.
Because they're dried out, they're gonna absorb water, they're gonna inflate, they're gonna bleed out solids. Same principle.
Yeah.
Of course, the recipe of blooming and everything changes, and you can adjust it to the digital interface where you want to have it. It comes already preset to start up recipes.
But you can add a bunch of recipes.
You can add a bunch of edit
Right.
recipes, plus what you do is that you can put them into folders. So if I'm doing hot coffee, I can choose the filter coffee. There you go.
Yeah.
I have my sizes. If I want to do my hot tea, I have my recipes. If I want to do my iced coffee, I have my recipes. So all I have to do is just match for the volume of water we're doing, the amount of coffee we're grinding.
So if you touch one of those buttons, does it actually tell you use this much grams too? Like, so it's like kind of
No, but you can do
but you
it.
have
You-
something on the
separate,
side.
Yeah, but
yeah.
we can populate as much as you want, but the idea is not to turn it into a busy screen.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So, but the principle remains the same. If you're doing 240 grams for 4 liter,
Yeah.
it's 240 grams for 4 liter.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not doing any math in terms of cold or hot.
No.
So the
Same.
one more question about the adding of the cold water is: are you also doing that because you want to be able to slow it down? Like you want to?
No, nothing slowing down. That is only to dilute the concentration that I'm making. I'm doing instantly concentrate with hot blooming. I'm diluting it right away
Yeah.
down to whatever I want to have final concentration of coffee. If you like it weaker, you can adjust. You want
But
it
if you
stronger, can
if you
adjust.
do a concentration and it goes into a container that has ice.
No, it's not going into the ice. It's
No, I
going
mean
into
the container has
that
ice.
liquid.
Right, yeah.
Water.
But because it's a concentrate, there's less liquid
Yes.
than normal,
Yes.
which means it'll get colder faster. Is that why you?
Not necessarily.
No. Okay.
Not necessarily.
All right.
The idea is that the blooming and the extraction I'm doing, that's what I desire to do.
Okay.
To get the full body, round, deep notes of the coffee, whether it is dark or light.
Yes.
It will work with a full range of spectrum of green coffee preps or roast styles.
So then why wouldn't you just forget about that? Just brew normal 60 grams per normal amount of
and
water.
It will separate.
Sorry?
It will separate.
It'll separate. Okay.
It will separate.
All right.
So what you're doing here, as you're brewing, the cold liquid fills up faster.
Yeah.
So when this drops in, the concentrate,
Yeah.
that liquid already is starting to get chilly. So the shock is much faster, more efficient, and the dilution into the cold water is more balanced.
Okay.
So if you do just a flash brew, say Japanese flash brew, you're taking say 4 liters and you're passing over 240 grams, 2 liter, over 2 kilos of ice. The problem already you start is the following. The ice, where's it coming from? If I have 20 stores,
Right.
20 different ice
Right.
densities, ice qualities. We ran out of ice. We bought it from the gas station.
Yeah.
Another ice.
Yeah.
So here, I'm independent. All I need the ice is to chill it.
Right.
All right. Good.
Right.
Second, when you do the flash brew, you
Yeah.
have technically wait until all the ice melts, so you'll be able to have exact finished product concentration. So when you brew that over the ice and your ice is a bit dense, then you're gonna wait like, I don't know, an hour or 2 or 3 until you get that ice melted, and nobody waits. And guess what happens? They start serving with different concentrations.
So the
right?
problem
So-
was the ice cube and keeping a consistency of flavor.
Correct.
So you
Correct.
removed the ice cube as a problem.
Correct.
That's the solution.
The ice is not touching the product. The ice
Right.
is there to refrigerate. If I had a refrigeration stick instead, I would do the same.
Right.
All right. So within 50 minutes, it's
Okay.
ready to serve.
Yep.
And we'll put it over
Yep.
the dispenser over the base,
Yes.
and we can serve from it. This is cold coffee,
Yeah.
or the same for the tea.
Yes.
However, we can jug it and hook it to our
The nitro.
the nitro system,
Right.
but this is hot and cold this is nitro and still coffee.
Yes.
So technically, the nitro is generated from the environment. 78% of what we breathe is nitrogen. The refrigeration dry bed is good for 750 milliliters of liquid. So I can dispense up to 25, 26 liters an hour of cold coffee. That's a lot of coffee,
It's done.
okay? So at 2 degrees C.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty is that the nitrogen we don't inject into the line, but we inject at the orifice. So now my contamination is only here, this much, with nitro or without nitro. So when I'm dispensing a cold coffee,
Flick the switch,
I
go
have-
cold.
I
Yeah.
have only cold coffee coming out.
Yeah.
Flip the switch.
Yeah.
It will start injecting the nitro. It turns into nitro. You're almost gonna finish your nitro. Flip it back to cold. The last 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces, it comes out with the remaining at the nozzle, the nitrogen, and then comes out flat, and you're stuck. And the next one, when you take it, you have non-nitro coffee. So the thing is that if you want nitro, you flip it. You're done, flip it back.
Okay. So it always goes to cold coffee no matter what.
Correct. You
Yeah.
have to put it because that activates a solenoid to inject in. So you don't want to leave the solenoid armed
Right.
to heat up
Right.
2, 3, 4 a day.
So what is there a basic way of telling us about the nitrogen? Like that's interesting. Like there's some way of generating.
Yes, we have a vacuum pump in it
Right.
that sucks the nitrogen out of the air, compresses it,
Yeah.
and then, of course, that is triggered with a pressure switch. And then we have a regulator in the back, which you fix it once. It takes down to the pressure you desire. Usually it's between 2 to 2.8, depending on the people, what they like. No different than if you had gas,
Mm.
real gas.
Right.
something.
Yeah.
And then, however, we have an additional thing is that we have a needle valve, very precise needle valve, that you adjust the flow of that gas. Would adjust now not only the height but also the quality of your foam.
Mm.
So the height is based on the pressure. The cold is based on the pressure, and the height is based on your needle valve.
So this is all in the back, like in terms of
Correct.
adjustments.
Adjustment.
So it's easy to just.
To adjust.
Okay.
Yes. And the refrigeration part, we hidden it because we don't have the operator to have access to the temperature control.
Right.
Because what they do sometimes, they serve 2 ounce, 3 ounce, and the customer says, but it's hot. First intuition, crank up, and then they freeze the line.
Right.
And then service call.
Right.
So we locked it in. You need screwdrivers to get it.
Yes. Slow them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slow down to do human stupidity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
So
Yep.
then you can do one product, one liquid, 2 products, and you can add within 6, 7 inches, add more as you wish. The base holds the pump.
That's
that
where the
pumps
pump is.
liquid.
Nice.
The top part holds all the rest, including refrigeration.
Okay.
We did that for 2, 3 reasons. One of them is we have places where this is going to stay too high, so you can put this under counter.
Mm-hmm.
We have locations where they say they clean the lines, somehow they forget to do it, and then the pump gets gunked up. So the first call, what they do is that they take the whole unit, if it was one, put it on the side.
Right.
And guess what happens when you put a refrigeration on the side?
Right.
The oil goes into your valves, and then next thing you know, your check valve is blocked, and now starts to act like a diesel engine. Click, 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 click. That means you ruined it.
Right.
So this way you can take out the base. The person that is doing service could have one spare in his truck. It's plug in, plug out.
Mm.
John guess.
Right.
Take it to your truck, open it up, clean it, swap it back, and leave. So operation of the customer does not get interrupted.
No interruption.
The cash register does not get interrupted.
Right. Another solution.
Correct.
Yeah. Got it.
So it's all designed to be functional.
Yep. Having the tone with the S profiler seems to me like it's one extra piece that you may not need, because the S-Profiler can do the hot and the cold, and you have dispenser, and it can go down to half
The only
liter.
difference is that with an S-Profiler, you cannot do 1 cup at a time. So you're going to go down to minimum 1 liter. So
Oh, not half liter, 1
not
liter.
half a liter,
Okay.
1 liter.
Okay.
Because of the shape of the basket. You
Oh,
could do it.
Okay.
But the shape of the basket, if you look at it, it is very vertical. It's like the double basket of an espresso machine.
Yeah.
Versus the older versions were tapered.
Yes.
It's like the single basket of an espresso machine.
Yes.
So that means your bed depth stays thicker
Yes.
because it's tapered.
Yes.
Here it's different. The bed depth is spreads, but I can go 240 gram without going to 15.5 by 5
Yes.
giant baskets.
Right.
So I will use the height of the depth of the bed
Yeah.
versus the diameter. So that's why a lot of times where people, they want to do a complete 1 cup at a time variety of different methods of brewing, whether it's Chemex, it's Kalita, it's Melita, it's V60, then
That's the tone.
the tone. Next to it, put a grinder. It could be the lab or it could be the filter. Next to it, you want to put this to do your batch brewing. More than 1.8, because you can push 1.8 here. More than 1.8 liters. And to do cold and hot, tea and coffee. Then comes this. So
that
here
can
we
only,
do
the tone can go to
coffee,
1.8.
Coffee and tea,
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah.
up to 1.8 liter batch, from 4 ounce to 1.8 liter.
Okay.
Different types of
All the different
extraction
filter
methods,
baskets, yeah.
Right? This you're doing production.
Okay, so
That's
now
not-
this is making more sense. So the tone really speaks to the people that want to have all these different, the V60,
Correct.
the Chemex, all
Correct.
this stuff.
Correct.
Right.
So now, if you want to do a complete brew bar, doing hot and cold and batch and different styles,
Yeah.
there will be the tone, the grinder, the dispensers, the S-Profiler. We're doing a full batch for ice brew, 240 grams of coffee, 60 grams per liter.
Yeah.
This is the same ratio that you desire to do whether you do ice brew or hot batch coffee. So if your measurement or recipe is 55 grams a liter, by all means do so.
Yes.
So you're not obliged to have absolutely 60 grams per liter, but it gives you the same concentration and TDS of whatever you're getting if you were doing it hot, 60 grams per liter.
Right. So if you've already made this coffee hot and you liked it at 55 grams,
Correct.
60 grams, whatever it is, you
And
can
then
also
you're going to do
follow.
it in cold now.
Yes, you can do the same thing.
Correct.
Great.
So we're going to put on about 700 TDS, 750 TDS. Okay. Depending where is your coffee for hot filter.
Okay.
Somewhere. If you have any pillow pouches, then by all means, it will be the pillow pouches.
Right.
All right. So we're using the vertical former in this instance, and then I'm going to remove this and get directly to do into the filter basket. So if you look at the filter, also we have what we call a vacuum brake. So what that vacuum brake does is that it helps whatever it's exiting from the funnel to be always at the same dilution or homogeneity, so you don't end up having constant dripping. So it drips out of the filter, it fills up, goes in and out of the vacuum, it creates a vacuum, so it goes, you're going to see there's a streams going up and down. And every time it does that, also it opens up and aerates the coffee. Good. So we're going to go and start the grinding. Let's put the filter right away directly. And this grinder doesn't do any static at all. You look at it. I'm gonna just settle it down. We're trying
Look
to
at
do
all that coffee.
coffee, and very. The only static we have is from air. The static in the air, because we're in a conditioned area.
Yeah.
And as you see, Well, distribution. You have the fines, you have the coarse, so you have a good 700 micron average.
That's what the number is, microns.
Yes.
Okay.
Cold brewing stainless steel funnel.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up with ice.
Yeah.
We're gonna put it here. The ice does not get in touch with the liquid. The ice is there strictly to do what we call the thermal shock. Good?
Yeah. Would you consider using a different amount of ice depending on how much you're brewing? Like
No.
we did 1 liter versus
No.
the 4 liters that we're doing?
It's
Okay.
independent because you're gonna see now, as it's brewing, the ice is gonna melt, we're gonna top it up. So the ice, more you have, merrier it is. The
Yes.
iced coffee folder and the 4 liter. So if you wanna see, you have different folders, and each folder contains different attributes of that particular folder's coffee. If we want to do hot batches, we have several batch sizes. For hot tea batch, we have, and you can have more, 1 and 2 liters. For iced coffee, we have a few different ones. And then if you want to go to iced tea, you have different setup menus. So all this is digital fingerprints. You can activate, deactivate different of your menus. So we're gonna go for iced coffee and 4 liter. So we're doing 4 liter in 15 minutes, temperature of the hot bloom 93 degrees C. We're gonna press brew, and now it was in a sleep mode.
Yep.
When you're at sleep mode, it will cut off the heating element, and the water, of course, it contracts. So basically it goes down to 170 degrees C, 170 degree F. So now it's filling up. It filled up back. It's going to start heating up to bring up from 170 to 203 with the setup, or 205, whatever you set
Whatever
up
number.
your temperature, maximum temperature. The brewing process starts, and now it's starting already to put in the amount of the cold water, because we're going to do hot bloom, low yield, high concentrate. So this means if you're doing a gold cup and you're extracting 20% of solubles, we're extracting here about 10% of that, but 5-fold concentrate. For a simple reason is that very small percentage of water going through hot bloom and very long time. So whatever water is being sprayed over the bed is getting saturated very fast with all the easily extractable or soluble compounds. So chlorogenic acids and caffeine, being the longest and the largest in molecular compound structure in a coffee, tend to extract later in extraction. Yes, we're doing 15 minutes of extraction time, out of which 10 minutes is going over the hot coffee, but it's not the totality of the water. So I am not taking, let's say, if I'm squeezing lemon juice, I'm squeezing it softly, and I'm just removing whatever comes out from the first squeeze, and leave behind some of the juice that is giving you bitterness and undesirable aromas. So it becomes round, rich in body, the chocolate note comes out, fruit note comes out, but the stringency doesn't come out. So you're not over extracting by extending the hot bloom 10 minutes, because the amount of water towards that coffee you're putting in is ridiculously low. So you're taking only the base juice. Basically, you're doing a reduction without evaporation. All right. So we're gonna watch now. It filled up with the cold water, and the hot bloom is starting. It's already hot, and within about the last 3 minutes, what happened is that we're spraying very slowly. The coffee is getting saturated, and it will start now to little by little extract, and you start dripping of the coffee coming soon out. And within about 12 minutes from now, we'll have this ready to be served.
It's finished? It's just holding?
time, yeah. It's cooling down. It's, you see the amount of ice went down?
Yep. About 1/3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the energy got transferred for the shot.
Has it already been 15 minutes? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That
2
was
minutes,
fast.
51 left.
Okay.
We're just gonna do a small shake. Nothing is left. So look at the bed. Our tube in, lock it. We have a strainer that catches any particles that might have went through the filter, and or you had a badly placed filter, a high neck filter instead of right filter.
Yep.
So that will catch all those grains and it will block instead of blocking your system. What we're going to do is that we're going to take and run.
Can you pop the filter off and just rinse it yourself, or do you have
Yes.
to buy a new one? Yeah. Okay.
No,
All
you
right.
can pop it and clean it.
All right.
So what I'm going to do, we rinse it with water. So I'm going to empty the rinse water or the cleaning water. You have to clean it with a Ernex Puro 2-part solutions for cold coffee.
Yeah. Joe showed me that earlier.
Yep.
I got a picture of that.
Yep. So now we have, and then we're primed. Cold coffee. All right, good.
Yep.
Cold. And then we turn it off.
Yeah.
The amount of fluff, the amount of the neck, everything is adjustable.